Joan Miró was born on April 20, 1893, in Barcelona, Spain. He grew up in a time of great change in the world of art, with many new movements challenging traditional ways of painting and creating. Miró's family was supportive of his interest in art. They encouraged him to study drawing and painting from a young age, and he attended various art schools in Barcelona. At first, Miró's style was influenced by the artists of the time, including the post-impressionists and the cubists. He was particularly drawn to the works of Pablo Picasso, whose use of shapes and form had a strong impact on Miró's early art. However, as Miró developed his style, he began to move away from traditional approaches to art. He started to experiment with abstraction, using simple shapes and symbols to express complex emotions and ideas. This shift towards abstraction was influenced by his interest in the Surrealist movement, which was gaining popularity in Europe. Surrealism focused on exploring the unconscious mind and creating art that came from dreams and imagination. Miró's art became more and more playful, with characters, symbols, and lines that seemed to come from his dreams or inner thoughts. He was drawn to the idea of creating art that was not limited by reality or the rules of logic. One of the things that set Miró apart from other artists was his ability to mix childlike simplicity with deep, complex meanings. While many artists were trying to create realistic depictions of the world, Miró embraced abstraction and fantasy. He wanted his viewers to see the world differently, through a lens of imagination and creativity. Miró's interest in dreams and the unconscious mind led him to experiment with different materials and techniques in his art. He often used bright colors, unusual shapes, and bold lines to create works that were full of energy and movement. His paintings were not just about making beautiful pictures. They were about creating a new way of seeing the world. In his work, Miró used many different symbols that had personal meanings for him. Some of these symbols were inspired by his childhood, while others came from his interest in mysticism, mythology, and nature. Miró often used stars, moons, birds, and women as symbols in his paintings and sculptures. These symbols were not meant to represent reality, but rather to express the feelings and ideas that Miró wanted to communicate. He believed that art could be a universal language that spoke to people on a deep, emotional level. Miró was not only a painter. He also created sculptures, ceramics, and murals. In fact, some of his most famous works are not paintings at all. His sculpture Woman and Bird, for example, is one of the most recognized pieces of art in the world. It shows a simple, elegant figure of a woman with a bird on her head, made from metal. Despite its simplicity, the sculpture is full of meaning and emotion. It reflects Miró's fascination with the relationship between humans and nature, and his love for creating forms that were both organic and abstract. Miró's approach to sculpture was just as innovative as his paintings. He often worked with everyday materials like wood, metal, and stone to create sculptures that were both modern and timeless. He believed that sculptures should not just be objects to look at. They should be interactive and engage the viewer's imagination. One of Miró's most famous contributions to art was his work in public spaces. He created large murals and sculptures that could be seen by everyone, not just by people who visited galleries or museums. These works brought his unique vision of the world to a wider audience and helped make his art more accessible. One of his most famous public works is a mural at the UNESCO building in Paris. The mural, called The Wall of the Moon, is a large, colorful work that combines abstract shapes with images of the stars and the moon. This mural is a perfect example of Miró's ability to create art that was both abstract and deeply connected to nature and the universe. In addition to his murals, Miró also created large sculptures for public spaces. His sculpture The Sun and the Moon can be found in the Park Joan Miró in Barcelona. The sculpture, made from stone and metal, is an abstract representation of the sun and the moon, two symbols that appear often in his work. Miró's public art is a testament to his belief that art should be for everyone, not just for a select group of people. Throughout his career, Miró was deeply influenced by his travels. He spent time in many different countries, including France, the United States, and Mexico. Each place he visited inspired him in different ways, and his work began to reflect the diversity of cultures he encountered. In Mexico, for example, Miró was inspired by the country's folk art and its bright colors and patterns. This influence can be seen in many of his later paintings and ceramics, where he used bold colors and simple, geometric shapes. Miró was also influenced by the art and culture of the indigenous peoples he met during his travels. Their use of symbols and abstraction resonated with him and added a new layer of meaning to his work. Despite his success, Miró remained humble and focused on his art. He was not interested in fame or fortune, and he never stopped experimenting with new ideas and techniques. Miró believed that the most important thing for an artist was to stay true to oneself and to continue to grow and evolve. He said that art should be a lifelong journey, and that there was always something new to discover. Miró's legacy is not just in the thousands of works of art he created. It is also in the way he changed the way we think about art. He showed the world that art could be playful, imaginative, and full of emotion. He believed that art was a way to express our innermost feelings, and to communicate with others in a way that words could not. Miró's work has had a lasting impact on the world of art, and his influence can be seen in the work of many contemporary artists. His ability to mix the abstract with the emotional, the simple with the complex, has inspired countless artists to break free from traditional boundaries and create their own unique visions. Today, Miró's paintings, sculptures, and public works continue to be celebrated in museums and galleries all over the world. His art remains a testament to the power of creativity, imagination, and the desire to see the world in a different way. Joan Miró was more than just an artist. He was a visionary who changed the course of art history and left behind a legacy that will continue to inspire for generations to come. His work will always be remembered for its playfulness, its bold use of color, and its deep emotional resonance. For anyone who experiences his art, Miró's world is a place where imagination and reality meet, and where anything is possible. Joan Miró's art reminds us that creativity has no limits, and that the world is full of beauty and wonder if we open our minds to it. Through his work, Miró showed us that art is not just about making something beautiful. It is about making something meaningful. His paintings and sculptures continue to speak to us, to challenge us, and to remind us of the importance of seeing the world with fresh eyes. Joan Miró's art is a celebration of life, of the imagination, and of the human spirit. His work will live on, inspiring people for many years to come.